Hello everyone, this is Art for Introvert, and today we anatomize Parasite, the South Korean movie directed by Bong Joon-ho. It became a 2019 hit and took the Palme d'Or Best Picture along with several other Academy Awards, and was the first non-English language film to win the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance to top it all. It's no secret that the world isn't used to seeing Korean language and cultural context on the screen. Still, the movie was highly praised. Cinema speaks a universal language after all, and let's see why Parasite ended up being the global phenomenon and how it exposes both South Korea and each and every one of us. The film's storyline is simple. The Kims, an ill-provided family, are struggling to make ends meet, stealing Wi-Fi and folding boxes for a local pizza place, and one day the father becomes an English tutor for the daughter of the wealthy Park family. Having entered the household, he grabs the opportunity bringing his sister to work for the Parks as an art therapist, and his parents as a housekeeper and a driver. So that's the rise in action, and later on the story gets way more complicated. There will be no spoilers in this video, but what we can tell for sure is that Parasite strikes the viewers with its cruel, ironic comments and tragic plot twists. In the movie's finale, it seems like the circle has been closed and nothing has changed for the better. The movie focuses on social inequality. It conveys the idea of social hierarchy using visual metaphors. While the wealthy family lives in a house on a hill, the Kims dwell in a semi-basement apartment which gets flooded every now and then. In another film by Bong Joon-ho, his dystopian Snowpiercer, we learn the idea of inequality through not a vertical but a horizontal metaphor. In a never-stopping train that carries the remains of humanity after an apocalypse, the first cars are for the wealthier passengers and the last ones for the unfortunate. Parasite comments on the conflict between two opposite worlds that cannot live without each other. In the movie, the low society cast doesn't openly fight the wealthy one and doesn't oppose the system itself. They only want to be rich themselves. As Cicero warned us, slaves dream not of freedom, but of becoming masters. To grasp the movie's message, let's turn to Hegel's philosophy, namely his master-slave dialectic. According to the German philosopher, there are two kinds of consciousness, the one of a slave and the one of a master. Slave consciousness is bound to the master's one, and because of his dependency, a slave is obliged to produce material objects. The master consumes the products made by the slave and doesn't produce anything on their own. As Hegel puts it, the master has already reached self-realization, while the slave seeks to stop being a slave, to change their current position in the system, and come to self-realization too. In the end, it is slaves who become the moving force of history. After all, slaves do all the work, while masters don't produce anything. The humankind has not liberated itself from servitude but by means of servitude, Hegel claimed. Karl Marx continues his idea, but he wasn't satisfied with a mere theoretical analysis. He wanted to influence the course of history and bring society to its logical end, which in the eyes of Marx meant communism. However, the director doesn't delve into Marxism. Parasite continues Hegel's philosophy but doesn't voice any radical opinion. It's as if the narration comes from a detached observer. In Parasite, the rich caste isn't portrayed as an absolute evil. Bong Joon-ho depicts them as cute, kind, and lively people who simply exist in a different reality from the poor. Wealth is not demonized in the movie. These people hate the smell of poverty, but that doesn't make them bad. For them, it is the smell from another world, the one they are dismissive and indifferent about. The rich don't exploit the poor or intentionally make their life miserable. They just live in a different reality. The Kims, on the contrary, take great interest in a profitable and easy life. Their goal is not destroying the unfair social hierarchy, but rising to its top. The poor family isn't shy to be cunning, deceitful, and cruel. For them, it's the only way to survive. The struggle for a better life forces them to overcome boundaries, both physical and ethical, that had constrained them before. The Parks, vice versa, do their best to point out the enormous gap between their family and the Kims. The movie highlights the same idea through the elements of the Parks house. It has transparent walls, but the fence around it is impenetrable. Wealth is all about borders, and poverty is about overcoming them. Only these boundaries are indestructible. Naturally, the dead-end problem is the result of the system, not the personal qualities of the lead characters. With this movie, Bong Joon-ho explores not the struggle between the rich and the poor, but its root cause. He doesn't take any side in this conflict, he opposes the system that caused it. In the master-slave dialectic we've mentioned, it is stated that the masters and the slaves are mutually dependent. They parasitize on each other, and as the movie suggests, every part of a capitalistic society always acts as a parasite to another one. What is the real parasite in this film, though? The rich or the poor? The answer of Bong Joon-ho is both. After all, it is only natural for humans to be closely related to another living being, and according to the definition made by Aristotle, man is by nature a social animal who cannot live without a society and needs to reach self-realization. To learn how our society functions from the philosophical point of view, see our course The Entire History of Philosophy from Ancient Times to the Present Day. Study the philosophical theories and ideas behind the big names of philosophy with us. The access to the course is unlimited. The link to the course is in the bio. As the director himself put it, his main enemy is capitalism, the general socio-economic situation that directly affects the lives of many. And the key problem of capitalism is man's alienation from themselves, from the products of their labor and other people. People are almost always rivaling each other. There's always someone who's trying to take over one's job or takes a higher position in the social hierarchy. In such a system, there is no place for mutual aid, only the need to survive that both parties exploit. Modern society alienates a person from themselves and deprives people of self-sufficiency, turning them into social parasites that can only exist in the context of a society. Bong Joon-ho tells this with his movie but doesn't comment if it's a positive or a negative tendency. This topic, too well known for any country, makes Parasite equally relevant for all viewers, be that Mexicans, European, Russians, or South Koreans. A parasite cannot exist without a host, which raises the question, can a society of hosts and parasites be harmonious, even in theory? The movie doesn't give us an answer, but we can see clearly that the modern world, with its rivalry, keeps pushing people apart from each other, and the only solid ground amid the storm is one's family that one should keep close.